Picture a small startup destined to become a tech titan. This is the story of Gordon Moore, the visionary behind Intel. His journey from a semiconductor startup to a global powerhouse is a strategic growth and innovation masterclass. First, we want to look at his early decisions. Moore's initial focus on microprocessors set Intel on a path to dominate the computing industry. Second, strategic pivots. Later, Moore's shift towards diversification and research and development propelled Intel into new markets. And third, his law. His prediction of exponential growth in computing power guided Intel's long-term strategy. But his legacy extends beyond Intel. The Gordon and Betty Moore Foundation, fueled by his success, contributes millions every year to patient care and scientific research. Gordon Moore's story isn't just about business success. It's about leveraging that success for global impact. So, when we're looking at the choices of Gordon Moore and the stuff that led to Intel growing, thriving, becoming a company that could fund his foundation, which leads to a lot of patient care, scientific research, environmental conservation, we figure out that early choices matter. If he hadn't decided to focus on the microprocessors, it wouldn't have created the foundation that Intel needed to go and really dominate the computing industry, to start to invest in research and development that will help them go into new markets. And so something we can learn from that is what we're focusing on now, the choices we're making now, are really pivotal into building a foundation that will produce something later. And the reason I'm saying that simple concept so slowly and that I want you to understand it is really we don't focus on things that compound. I think a lot of us have relationships, skills, career choices, investments of time, money, energy, effort that don't compound on themselves. And I think when you're not, like, compound interest doesn't just exist in money. It exists in money. It exists in relational capital, all types of capital. Money being capital, relational capital, where you put your energy, where you put your focus, learning. I think Warren Buffett talks about compounding and learning. And so when you're making early choices, you're really deciding what things do I want to compound over time. And do you want to compound relationships with people who aren't going anywhere over time? Do you want to compound poor investments, poor time use, poor energy, poor exercise habits? Do you want to compound any of that over time? And so when you're making your early choices, be like, if I were to do this action every day for the next 30 years, what would be the result? And then, if the result is not something you would want, it's probably time to change your daily actions. And so early choices matter because the focus on semiconductors is like, if he focused on semiconductors every day for the next 30 years, as far as he knew, that was going to help him dominate the industry. And in dominating the industry with how fast it was growing, Intel would be a huge company that could support a lot of people's salaries, but then also research and development into a lot of things that he cared about: environmental conservation, patient care, scientific research, right? So, early choices matter. You need to be making choices that compound on themselves, whether it be relationships, whether it be capital, whether it be time, energy, effort, skills, whatever. It just needs to be like, hey, if I keep doing this, it will grow. And it will grow disproportionately. And if you want it to grow disproportionately, it's probably including some sort of leverage over time, right? Regardless, early choices matter. Second, research and development led the way into new markets. That's something else we can learn. And so our early choices matter, yes. He set the foundation for his success by focusing on something that was growing quickly and that was pivotal in the industry, right? So similarly, we need to focus on something that's pivotal and compounds. But research and development led the way into new markets. So when the industry started to change, if he had kept focusing on semiconductors, Intel would have been left behind because technology evolved. I think humans evolved too. And we've been evolving very quickly as of recent. And so in your life, it may not be a business in the sense that you are needing to do research and development to evolve this type of technology, right? But research and development into human psychology, into yourself, will help you pivot as you change, as the people around you change, and as the world changes. And that ability to pivot is key to your journey on the new 1%. Because again, trying to make a buttload of money to create a buttload of impact. And the money is actually the easy part. The impact of actually influencing people's lives and actually walking alongside people, bearing their burdens, helping people feel love that is life-changing. That is an insanely difficult task that we can only do when we know how much we're loved and in community together. And so doing a bunch of research and development into how much you're loved into your community will help you lead the way into new markets of impact, if you will. The stronger your community, the stronger your foundation of love, care, and your why, basically, the more impact you'll be able to make. And R&D will help that. R&D for you could be, reading the Bible or prayer, or it can be reading books, or it can be developing skills. It can be growing your business. It can be loving your family. Like whatever that R&D looks like for you, it's setting that foundation that allows you to go impact people more. So that's what I think of when I think of R&D and how it translates into the new 1% journey. You need to pick kind of pivotal choices. Very, what's the word I use? I think it was pivotal. It's like it needs to be pivotal and it needs to compound. Semiconductors were a pivotal point in the industry, and they also compounded over time, building a foundation that led to R&D. So early on, you need to pick pivotal choices. What's the most important thing that will compound over time? Focus on that. Then, as you have that foundation built, and as your empire starts to grow and you start to get to the point where like, I'm safe, my business is safe, I can start venturing out to impact people, all that good stuff, start doing the R&D into new markets of impact so you can really start focusing. And then it's the same thing. What's the most pivotal thing that compounds over time in this context? And then you start focusing on that. And now you have a lot of things compounding over time that are happening with or without you because you're leveraging relationships or systems to get it all done, right? So, research and development into your life to create impact is the same thing as the early choices matter. Pivotal points, most pivotal point of the system that compounds over time. Do that for your early choices, do that for your later choices, do that for all choices. And when you're doing R&D, what are the things that allow you to go create more impact? Just like what are the things that allow your business to grow? What are the things that allow your impact to grow, right? Then high growth markets, rowing the right boat. And so this reminds me of Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett said, I had a friend who was working really hard. He was doing a lot. And in the industry he was in, he was only going to get to 50 million, 100 million. Like being the best in that industry and rowing really hard in that boat, he was capped at 100 million, 200 million, 300 million. But me, I was just kind of letting the wind take my boat, and I would row a little bit every now and then. It wasn't working nearly as hard, but my cap was 90 billion, and it's because I was in the right boat. And you really have to be in the right boat when you're trying to row. For example, classic example, if you become the best at underwater basket weaving, specifically in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, it will do you no good for impacting people or producing capital for yourself and your family. Because it is not a skill that's in demand, it doesn't do anything for anybody unless maybe you get it on YouTube or something and get a bunch of followers. Underwater basket weaving isn't the right boat to row in. But if you get really good at quadrupling people's businesses in 3 years, that's a pretty good skill. Because when you quadruple a business, you're solving a problem better or more, and that brings in more capital, which you will get a share of. And so as you know how to quadruple people's businesses, that's great. As you know how to help people get fit, as you know how to help people feel loved, as you know how to help people through traumatic issues, as you know how to solve relevant problems that a lot of people are having, that's when you can start to serve more. And so you really got to find a big problem that a lot of people are dealing with that doesn't really have a solution. You have to go there and create that solution whether it's through partnerships, creativity, whatever it may be, but you got to row in the right boat. And the best thing is to pick a fundamental human need. Like Warren Buffett is really good at buying businesses. There will always be businesses, and people will always need good business practices. So if you're really good at buying businesses, and really what he's really good at is investing in people who operate great businesses. And he knows how to pick people. If you know how to pick people, that's the one skill you get good at, and you always pick the right person for the right thing, you'll be pretty solid. So that's what we got for you guys today on the show. Realize that your early choices matter. Pick the most pivotal and the most compounding thing and let it compound over time. Have that build the foundation for your research and development, which will lead you into new markets just like it did Intel. But for you, it may be in business, it may be in impact, it may be in family, it may be in friends, whatever it's in. We're a community of people judged not by our wealth, but by our impact, right? So we're always impact focused. So your R&D should lead to more impact, to lead to more changed lives. In high growth markets, pick something, pick the right boat to row in, where there's a lot of demand, there's a lot of need that you can solve. That's what we got for you guys today on the show. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you on the next one. And remember, we're a community of people judged not by our wealth, but by our impact.